I'm Isabel. 3 weeks ago, my phone lit up with 39 missed calls and a voicemail from my father, his voice filled with rage as he screamed, "How could you do this to your own family?" Well, this is what I did. I sold my $400,000 downtown loft to a developer while my sister's family was in the middle of packing their things to move in for free. It all started at a family gathering. My family has always been a bit over-involved. My father, Henry, is a retired military man. He's used to giving orders and having them followed without question. My mother, Edith, is a sweet-natured but somewhat manipulative woman. She always knows how to tug at your heartstrings. I've worked my way up from nothing. I grew up in a small town outside the city. My father's military career was once prosperous, but a series of bad investments and a market crash left our family in financial turmoil. While my parents struggled to make ends meet, I was determined to change our situation. I buried myself in books, got scholarships, and took on multiple part-time jobs. Eventually, I landed a great job in risk analysis, a field most people don't understand but assume is high-paying. My younger sister, Lily, took a different path. She dropped out of art school after a year, flitted between odd jobs, and married a guy named Max. Max was always coming up with get-rich-quick schemes that never panned out. When they had 2 kids in quick succession, it was clear they were in a financial bind. That's when my parents started to put pressure on me. At first, it was small requests, $50 to pay a bill, $100 for groceries. My mother would always say, "Isabel, dear, they're family. You're so lucky with your job. You should help them." I told myself it was just a temporary situation, that they'd get back on their feet. But as the years went by, the requests became more frequent and more demanding. When I finally bought my downtown loft after years of saving, my father shook my hand and said he was proud. But then he looked around the spacious rooms and said, "This place is too big for just one person. It's a waste of space." I ignored the comment, thinking it was just a passing thought. A few weeks before a big family holiday, my father brought up the idea of leaving a spare key with him. "You travel so much for work, Isabel. What if there's a problem with the pipes?" "I could take care of it," he said. I hesitated, but he gave me that disappointed look he's so good at, and I handed over the key. The holiday itself seemed normal on the surface. We were at my parents' house, a cozy 2-story in the suburbs. There was the smell of a home-cooked meal, the sound of the TV playing in the background, and the kids running around. But I'm trained to spot risks, and I started to notice some red flags. When I mentioned my upcoming business trip to Los Angeles, my father didn't ask about the details. He just stared at me and said, "So, you'll be gone for a while?" Lily perked up and glanced at my father. I knew something was up. After dinner, my mother asked me to help her in the kitchen. As I was making coffee, I overheard my father and Lily talking in the living room. "We'll move them in as soon as she's on that plane. I have the key. By the time she comes back, it'll be done," my father said. Lily asked if I might cause a scene, and my father laughed. "She'll never stand up to us. She always folds," he said. I felt a cold anger wash over me. All those years of giving in, of sacrificing my own needs for the family, and they were just going to take my home without even asking. That night, I went back to my loft. I sat in the dark, thinking about what I should do. I called my friend, Ava. She's always been the practical one. I told her everything that had happened, and she said, "Option 1, you go confront them. Option 2, you take away their game board." I didn't want a fight. I just wanted to be free from their constant demands. Ava reminded me that a development company had been interested in my building. A few months ago, I'd received a glossy brochure about a project to build a high-rise in the area. I'd put it aside, not ready to let go of my home. But now, it seemed like the perfect solution. The next day, I contacted a real estate lawyer, Mr. Thompson. He was straightforward and told me that legally, I had every right to sell my property. If my family moved in without my consent, it could turn into a messy legal battle. He recommended selling the loft as the cleanest option. I also got an email from my company about a transfer to Los Angeles. It came with a higher salary and better career prospects. It was like the universe was giving me a way out. I met with the developer, Mr. Harris. He was a no-nonsense man in a sharp suit. He offered me 15% above the market value, with a cash closing in 8 days. He needed the building vacant within 30 days for his project. I was hesitant at first, but then I thought about my father's words, "She always folds." I decided it was time to break that pattern. I signed the papers, booked a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, and waited. Before I left, my father called and asked for the key. I told him I'd mail it. He was annoyed, but there was nothing he could do. On the flight to Los Angeles, I saw Lily's posts on social media. She was showing pictures of the boxes in my loft, captioning them with how grateful she was for the family arrangement. I just took a deep breath and reminded myself that I'd made the right decision. A few days later, I got the email from Mr. Thompson saying the sale was complete. The developer would post a notice of demolition and a 30-day vacate order. And then the calls started. Lily, my mother, my father, and Max were all furious. They left voicemails full of accusations and threats. My mother was hysterical, saying I was ruining the family. Lily was angry, accusing me of being heartless. Max threatened to take me to court. My father was the most disappointed, saying I'd betrayed the family. I didn't respond to their calls or texts at first. I just took screenshots of their messages. I knew they'd try to rewrite the story, so I wanted a record of what had really happened. After a few days, the tone of their messages changed from anger to guilt. My mother said she couldn't sleep, and my father's blood pressure was high. Lily said the kids were scared. But they never once apologized for trying to take my home without asking. I finally sent them an email, stating the facts. I told them I'd sold the loft within my legal rights and that they should direct any questions to the developer or their own lawyer. I wasn't going to engage in their drama anymore. Their replies were full of more anger and disappointment. But I didn't care. I'd finally taken control of my life. In Los Angeles, I settled into a new apartment near the beach. I made new friends, and I started a fund for young women in the arts, using a portion of the money from the sale. Looking back, I realized that if you're always the responsible one in the family, people start to take you for granted. They see you as a resource, not as a person. But you have the right to say no, to protect what you've worked for. And sometimes, you have to make a tough decision to break free from the chains of family obligation.